Hi everybody. The world's road race is upon us, the first one in Africa, happening in and around Kigali, a place I've been calling home for 6 years of my life. Taking a quick look back at the final 10 editions of the Worlds, Peter Sagan scored a hat-trick from 2015 to 2017, and Alaphilippe scored back-to-back wins in 2020 and 21. Other active riders who managed to covet the rainbow jersey are Mats Pedersen for Denmark, Evenepoel for Belgium, Van der Poel for the Netherlands, and the defending champion Tadej Pogačar for Slovenia. The course for this year's road race is 267k long, featuring a massive 5,500 meters of elevation gain. So we can safely speak of a long and tough day in the saddle, made up of repetitive climbs on the Mur de Kigali and the Côte de Kimiorura, with Mont Kigali thrown in slightly over halfway. Here's the climbs on this parcours, which basically consists of 9 times the main loop, followed by the Mont Kigali loop and back into 6 main loops, finishing on the Côte de Kimiorura, the same finish as on the individual time trial. This being a championship race, the racing will be brutal. Some teams will opt to send riders into the break, others will control and make it hard. Expect most teams to either Slovenia and Belgium to control, something these countries may try to avoid by sending riders into the break. Or the course may be scaring the riders, with the pack staying together, dropping riders along the way to fully explode in the final round. Whichever way, this is going to be selective, and expect lots of riders to drop out of the race. Here's an overview of the riders lining up for this year's race with prior top 10 results on the world's road race, including 3 former champions, Alaphilippe, Pogačar and Evenepoel. The weather for Sunday is expected to be dry and partly cloudy, with temperatures up to 25 degrees Celsius, so sounds like a perfect day for racing. Looking at the starting field, you may be wondering why the teams have a different number of riders. This is because quota apply, based on the country standings in the UCI rankings, where the top nations are allowed to enter 8 riders, while the lower ranking countries can only enter 1 rider. The host nation is allowed to enter 6 riders, even when they're out of the top 10 in the nations ranking. The reigning Olympic and continental champions can be added to the quota when his home country doesn't reach 8 riders, based on the country ranking. And finally, the reigning world champion always goes on top, which is why you'll see Slovenia line up with 9 riders. No need to mention that riders having a full team at their disposal here will always have an advantage. That being said, here's the betting odds at the time of recording, with Pogačar and Evenepoel as the main favourites. Prior to the individual time trial, Pogačar was the outright favourite with Remco at 8. Following his performance in this ITT though, he is now at 4.5. And then, here's the riders to watch in my book. Given the parcours and the amount of climbing, you're looking for a climby rider here, able to punch on the repetitive steep climbs. For Slovenia, the only team having 9 riders at the start, it's all eyes on Pogačar, and it will be interesting to see how they'll use Roglic. Will they try and send him up front, or will they keep him close to Pogačar? It has to be said that Roglic's track record in Worlds races isn't very impressive, only making it into the top 10 once out of 6 race starts. Belgium is lining up with a strong block here, with Evenepoel clearly firing on all pistons. In the run-up to the ITT, he looked scarily composed and relaxed, and we all know how that ended. Will they send a rider into the break, or will they regroup around Remco? Personally, I expect them to regroup around Remco. Then, Skelmose is the rider to watch for Denmark. In my opinion, Italy should send a rider à la Frigo into the break and regroup around Ciccone. Olney and Pidcock are a very strong duo and could both do really well here. After what we've seen in the Vuelta, I actually really like Pidcock on this parcours. Alaphilippe will not survive this up front, yet still, it feels wrong not to mention him. He's one of those riders who can find something different in unexpected moments. In my book, the same goes for Michael Matthews. He's just one of these typical racers, able to surpass himself on a championships day, while Vine is obviously a rider to watch on this parcours, following his recent performance in the Vuelta. Ayuso is the rider to watch for Spain, whom are lining up here with a strong squad. And for the Netherlands, Arendsman is the man to watch. Even though it has to be mentioned he was sick coming into the ITT, so his preparation has not been ideal. Hirschi and Simmons find a course here that's leaning too far into the climby end of the spectrum in my opinion, While Healy is a very dangerous client here, he simply is one of these guys who can ride his bike very hard for a very long time. And finally, we get three strong Latin American riders: Bernal for Colombia, Carapaz for Ecuador, and Del Toro for Mexico. He's clearly one of the riders in form, good for 13 victories this season only. In terms of stars, Pogacar and Evenepoel are my 4-star favorites for this race. Healy, Pidcock, and Del Toro get 3 stars. Only Ayuso and Skjelmose get 2 stars. And Carapaz and Bernal each get 1 star. As for the podium, I'm going with a solo win for Evenepoel ahead of Pogacar and Pidcock. Enjoy the race and see you soon for my final prediction of the season in Lombardia.